Of Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti. College students, high school students, even a middle school girl vanished.
Only to turn up a few days later, their bodies mutilated, found on the back roads of Washtenaw County. Tonight, Rob Wolchek is here with the story of the Michigan murders.
Hila Monica, if you were alive in 1969, you remember the serial murders. If not, you're about to hear a story that will scare you. Over the next 3 nights, I'm going in depth to tell you about murder, fear, and terror that happened right here at home.
For the third time in the past 2 years, the body of an Ann Arbor Ypsilanti co-ed has been found. The girl brutally murdered.
This is a true story.
The 18-year-old Eastern Michigan University freshman disappeared from Ypsilanti's main street around 1 p.m. on Wednesday.
I have decided to invoke a long-standing
They said that now is the time to emphasize coordination between all law enforcement.
A story that took place exactly 50 years ago today.
So it's definitely a very sick individual and a very dangerous individual.
It was a time before Charles Manson, before Ted Bundy, before the term serial killer was even a term.
Gives a cause of death as a result of a severe blow to the head.
Just like one of the girls I heard.
Yet it happened here, just outside of Detroit, where tens of thousands of students walk the same campuses today and travel the same back roads where a killer dumps victim after victim
sounds like
after
Guinness.
victim.
University officials, both here and at the University of Michigan, say that they really can't provide maximum protection for the girls. The leads are...
Now, using archived news film, some of which hasn't been seen since it aired here on Channel 2 a half-century ago.
And we are doing everything humanly possible to try to apprehend this killer or killers.
From
I'm
your
going to
home
tell
city.
a tale of a time of terror.
Everybody wants to look at home whenever something happens.
Alone, and it's sort of scary at night.
And revisit the places you would not know that this area even existed if
like
you
the
didn't really
Delphi
know
murders.
the area.
He knew this area like the back of his hand.
And the people who
He
lived
must have went
there.
fishing
Most
a
of the
lot
girls
as a
were
kid.
sliced. Their breasts were sliced. Throat was sliced.
And you'll meet people who've never talked about their encounters with a savage killer on television before.
He was just kind of following me home.
Listen to
you know?
this.
I
This
said,
is what
no,
someone
no,
told me.
really, I'm okay.
And he said, "You mother ugly, aren't you gonna get in the car with me?"
Sounds just like somebody else that said Dennis looked just like the Michigan murderer today. He pulled up on her. I wonder if that was her. You never know. Someone got a hold of me. It might have been her.
It's July 1969, a time of peace and love. And you were a hippie.
Yeah, you could get sex anywhere back then. Look at that. You know?
Some students
Everybody's
serve in
giving it up.
fraternities, some flower power.
There were the freaks, and then there were the frats.
In the TV biz, it wasn't unusual for a reporter to interview someone who was smoking a cigarette. Heck,
I guess
it
they
wasn't
got
even
rid of Frank
unusual
on
for a
American
reporter to be
Pickers, so-
puffing a pipe as
He
well.
broke his back.
Police officers, some on foot.
But the reporters here at WJBK, as well as the freaks and the frats and the fuzz, were in the midst of a manhunt.
Hey, did you know there is a government-funded education grant
I don't give
that
a
can
shit
deposit
about
up to
this damn commercial.
$38,070 directly into your bank account? That's right. Anyone who is unemployed, who currently makes less than $80,000 a year, may qualify. So if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck and you can't afford to go back to school or further your career or earn your degree, then this is your chance. This money can be used for all expenses accrued while you're enrolled in classes. This can include childcare costs, housing, groceries, gas, and more. The best part? This money does not need to be paid back.
It's a nice
so
Model
don't miss out on this
T, eh?
opportunity that millions of Americans are already taking advantage of. To see if you qualify to receive, just complete a simple 1-minute form. To get started, click the link below right now. On the next page, you'll answer a few
32.
questions, and hey,
Truck,
you'll be done
those are
in
badass.
no time. Don't miss out on this program. Click the link, get started today.
Come on, commercial. What the fuck?
All right, so if you haven't claimed your $610 driver stimulus, then you really need to see this. So Congress just announced a new stimulus program that is putting up to $610
Paid
back
for
into the
by your
pockets of
local
drivers
channel.
all across the country, right?
Google.
And it's not a secret that Americans have been driving
Motherfucker,
way
bro.
less this year, which means insurance companies have been raking in huge profits. It's insane. And that's exactly why Congress created this program, to really pass the money back to the drivers. But of course, insurance companies have been working overtime to keep it a secret to protect their profits, right? Now, let me ask you something. Has your insurance company told you about this? Probably not.
Even a
don't worry,
stonehead
though, you're
can
not alone.
fucking
Most Americans
solve a
still
case,
have
I
not
guess.
yet claimed theirs and are urged to do so before the funds
With my
run out.
eyes half
So if you wanna
open, I
claim
can
yours,
do
just
it.
click the link and answer a few quick questions to see how much you could put back in your pocket.
Come
It only
on,
takes
damn,
1
I
minute to
should
claim up to
just pause it.
$610. So make sure
Well,
you
they
click the
can't
link
say
to get
nothing
started
because
now.
I'll let them do your commercial on here, so it's paid for, okay? They got paid.
For a monster.
Miss Biederman was last seen Wednesday afternoon by her roommate here at Downing Hall. University officials have refused newsmen entrance to the building and not allowed them to talk to the girl's roommate or any of her friends. When she was last seen, she was...
Karen Sue Beineman, an 18-year-old freshman at Eastern Michigan University, was missing, and everyone feared she'd be the latest victim in a brutal murder spree. The killing began exactly 2 years earlier, in July of 1967. That's when 19-year-old student Mary Fleischer, a devout Catholic girl, took an evening walk from her apartment near the EMU campus. The building hasn't changed much. Mary was seen by a neighbor being catcalled by a young man who screeched his car to a stop and appeared to be trying to get her to take a ride.
He put his car in front of her while she's walking down the street.
Author Greg Fournier was an EMU student at the time. He's the writer of the book,
You have a lot of
Terror
guts
in
and making
Ypsilanti.
motherfuckers do stuff. Get in the fucking car now.
Fournier
man.
says the witness watched this cat and mouse game between the driver of the shiny car and Mary until eventually she was out of the neighbor's view. Mary Fleischer was never seen alive again. Her body was found dumped here a month later near LaForge and Getty's Roads. She'd been repeatedly stabbed in the chest. State police say the killer had come back to the scene at least 3 times. He'd moved poor Mary's body and had apparently mutilated her further with each visit.
Many were veterans on the force and had never seen anything quite that horrific.
Then, on a hot Sunday night a year later, a 20-year-old student left this house on Emmett Street in Ypsi and walked a block to a bus stop on Washtenaw Avenue.